Mom! Mom! Look at me!
Eric, oh my goodness!
It worked, Mom! I'm normal.
We've heard all the excuses for Eric Cartman being overweight.
Eric isn't fat, he's big-boned.
He must have a huge bone in his ass then.
In a recent visit to the doctor's office, he's told that his weight is a concern, but there might be a solution that will turn him into a skinny legend. And taking a look at the South Park special, The End of Obesity, this is another made-for-streaming movie on Paramount+. And I really enjoyed this exploration of weight loss drugs. Obesity is an ongoing concern, and the debate over it being a quote-unquote disease rages on.
Obesity is a disease. No, it's not, is it? You just like eating, don't you?
Cartman is told all about obesity drugs such as Ozempic, but due to the expense, he cannot afford to pay for this weight loss miracle. But if the boys can successfully navigate the American healthcare system, they could potentially get his insurance to pay for them instead.
Hello.
At first I was surprised at how they portrayed the emotional side of Cartman. He's genuinely upset by his physical appearance, but then you remember this is Eric Cartman we're talking about, and in his own little fantasy about being skinny, the only reason he wants to lose weight is so he can insult others without being made fun of for being fat in response.
Oh yeah? Well, damn it!
Yeah! Adam!
I really enjoyed how body shaming is explored, which is disguised as body positivity. Very quickly this turns into a comedic assault on the American singer Lizzo, who is ridiculed throughout the entire special, and her name is branded as a cheap alternative to Ozempic, which I believe is in reference to allegations against her for fat shaming others in the music industry, throwing stones in a glass house much? But at this point, it's old news anyway, but it was amusing to see her ridiculed on South Park, and how she actually embraced this after the special had aired.
I just feel like, damn, I'm really that bitch. I really showed the world how to love yourself and not give a f*** to the point where these men in Colorado know who the f*** I am and put it on their cartoon that's been around for 25 years.
It's Lizzo.
Randy Marsh steals the show once again, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I like how his role looks at the misuse of weight loss drugs. All of this spirals from the disapproval of his daughter Shelley wearing a crop top to school. He becomes overly protective, even though this is just a fashion trend he doesn't understand. And feeling ignored, his childish retort made me laugh, turning up to school wearing a crop top himself. And this gets an interesting reaction from mothers picking up their kids, who are also wearing crop tops, and their outfits are deliberately showing off their weight loss progress thanks to drugs like Ozempic, and they believe Randy is also taking the drugs, and they invite him to a house party to do exactly that. He brings some of his Tegrity weed, but is instead introduced to Ozempic. I find it interesting how Randy doesn't really understand what's happening when taking the drugs, but just goes along with it anyway, and after a night of partying, he feels fine, which encourages him to want to do more Ozempic, for the wrong reasons, and very quickly, he is way in over his head. When the women are no longer able to source the drugs, he's forced into committing a series of crimes to get more. And similar to the last special, I find it hilarious how he's completely oblivious to what's going on around him. With each Ozempic injection costing over $1,000, the boys look at creating homemade weight loss drugs using semaglutide, which is ordered directly from a factory in India. And I was surprised to see this is a genuine online phenomenon where you can follow instructions on social media to synthesize your own weight loss injections. Obviously, there are many risks with this sort of thing, and it's generally not recommended, but the reason behind it is because the official drugs are ludicrously expensive. One of my new favourite musical montages on the show sees Kyle, Butters and Cartman trying to navigate the American healthcare system, and their goal is to get Cartman's medical insurance to pay for the weight loss drugs, but just like in real life, the boys are pushed around hoping to get somewhere, but find out they're being taken for a ride. Excuses, misinformation, and passing the buck seem all too familiar, but Kyle is determined to get these expenses paid, and I really enjoyed his role throughout the special. He takes on the responsibility to fight back against obesity and the expensive weight loss drugs, and he makes his own affordable injections, giving a metaphorical middle finger to the healthcare system. And I think it's understandable to feel wronged by the official channels, therefore taking matters into his own hands and trying to help America with his own obesity drugs makes him into a target. And attracting the wrong kind of attention, we are introduced to an entire league of food icons and mascots. Corrupting the US healthcare system with their sugary products, this was my favourite part of the story. Extremely inventive, and I love these character designs translated into the South Park art style. Cartman is the first person to test Kyle's weight loss drug, and it does work, but the way he measures this is both hilarious and disgusting. He makes his own bizarre snacks involving KFC and cereal, but can't finish this so-called cereal bomb. He loses his appetite, meaning the drugs are in fact working. But before he can take any more, the women and Randy raid their entire operation, stealing all the drugs they can get their hands on. Tying everything together, I really enjoyed the sequence of events that brings everything to a mostly satisfying conclusion. Seeing the mascots violently take down the Indian factory was both brutal and hilarious, killing everybody in the process, and this is where Tony the Tiger sends a message to the boys, who are now going to struggle to get more semaglutide. But Kyle still remains determined, who intercepts a truck of semaglutide coming to South Park. The only problem is the women and Randy have found the same truck and proceed to rob it, but in a twist, Randy betrays the women, leaving them behind.
What the hell are you doing?
You're bad people!
I know Trey and Matt love the movie Mad Max The Road Warrior, which has been referenced many times throughout the series, and the entire end sequence is a brilliant homage to the climax of the original film with some hilarious similarities. But not only that, the work behind the animation and the assets looks incredible overall. When the boys follow the truck's whereabouts, they're surprised to see that Randy is driving it and that he's being chased down by the women. And turning into a mass shootout, there's some brilliant action shots to appreciate, especially when the food mascots do join the fight. Sonny the Cuckoo in the gyrocopter was a highlight, along with Tony the Tiger killing Kenny. It's been a while since Kenny has died on the show, which got an unexpected laugh out of me, but I was disappointed that we didn't get the iconic "You bastards" in response to his demise. I was also surprised to see Kyle join the shootout with no hesitation. Usually he's a lot more morally sound, but this time he's more focused on fighting for the cause that he believes in. Evading the carnage, Kyle does get the truck home, but the big reveal of what's inside made for an excellent, albeit predictable gag. And I found it predictable because of just how the setup was done. The insurance guy from before being hidden away in the back of the truck was an excellent punchline. And despite everything, Kyle, and therefore the American people, have a complete lack of control over their healthcare system. No matter what, they're playing into the hands of these huge companies that profit off manipulating the world. It's all a money-making scheme, controlling our bodily imbalances one way or another. And I found the realization of this to be more of a defeat than anything, which was kind of underwhelming. We're all just puppets to these large companies, whether it's from the food we consume or the healthcare that we need. Money talks, and at this point, there's nothing else for the boys really to overcome. However, I did like the notion behind trying to take back control over how we treat our bodies, and in turn, each other. Nobody should feel ashamed of being overweight. Kyle expresses this in the school canteen, and Cartman suddenly perks up. He's essentially getting what he wants without having to lose any weight. And so he makes fun of everyone else because, thanks to Kyle, nobody can make fun of him for being overweight. He's a manipulative genius. You just want to hate him for it, but you can't help but love him. Here's a look at the DVD set itself. Sadly, another disappointing release overall in my opinion. Nothing too fancy about this one. Your runtime, you're looking approximately 50 minutes, and this one is rated a 15 here in the UK for drug misuse, strong bloody violence, language, and sex references. And once again, this one suffers from very limited artwork, and again, no bonus content to speak of. I was going to say it's interesting how the cover art is different between the UK and the US releases, but the US got a slipcover which reveals the skinny Cartman beneath, so we just lost out once again. Oh well. Like I always end up saying, we should be grateful that we are still getting South Park DVD and Blu-ray releases, but I just wish a little bit more care was put into these. But anyway, that's going to do it for this review and unboxing of South Park: The End of Obesity. Overall, a very funny and coherent storyline that explores the harsh reality of expensive healthcare and the abuse of weight loss drugs. Overall, a very well written satire, and I cannot wait to see what's next for the series going forward. Hopefully, season 27 won't be too far behind. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave me a like down below. Comment below what did you think about this South Park special. As always, I love hearing your thoughts and opinions. And for more videos, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, DVD Review Studios.
Are you threatening me?